Hey everybody, and welcome back to another art journaling video. Today I wanted to play a little bit with my new Ferris wheel press inks, and I also wanted to try out a technique I did in the past quite regularly, I would say, but recently I haven't used it and I just wanted to play with it, and that's the crayon resist technique, wax resist technique. I'm going to work with Neocolors and then use the ink over the top just to create a little bit of texture on the background. I will give you the names of the inks in the video description because I never can remember their names. They are very creative, and that makes it a little bit hard for me. I'm using a Neocolor I in an orangish red color. And I'm also going to use a Neocolor II in a turquoisey color with the Neocolor II, as these are water soluble. You do not really get a good resist, but if you go over in Neocolor II, it does not dissolve in the wetness immediately. It would stay there until you just rub it quite hard with the water, or with a harder tool like a sponge or your fingers. And so it also creates kind of a resist, but it gets more of a pattern that stays more in the background. And I really like to use both because it gives me different textures, and that gives me more depth and different depth in one layer, I would say. I'm just making some marks with the crayon. You can do whatever mark you like to do. Of course, there are many ways to create a resist technique. You can use embossing powder together with a stamp. You can use a stencil together with embossing ink and then use embossing powder. You can use a stencil with a glossy kind of gel medium that will also create a resist. And here I'm going in with the inks. I'm just applying them with a brush. I add water and move the ink around a little bit, and you can see that the crayon stays visible, and you can remove, if there is ink on the crayon, you can remove it later just with the brush. Here I'm adding more water with a bigger brush to just blend that out. The journal I'm working in is a sketchbook from Hahnemühle. It's a watercolor sketchbook, and I really like it with watercolors, inks, and all kind of that stuff. Here I'm going in with that mustardy color. It turns green immediately because my brush wasn't clean and it mixes in with the turquoise. I really like how these two colors mix together, and I really like the contrast between that orange mark making and those colors. What I really love about these inks, that you get some really lovely color shifts when they are drying. And here I'm just splattering in some water drops that creates a really lovely texture. I played with these inks already in my sketchbook, that's why I have them in my paint palette here. And I just add a little bit of water to get them reactivated. I think that's really nice, a really nice way of using them. I don't like to use them directly from the bottle because I'm afraid I might ruin the inks by dipping in with a brush. So I always use a pipette and get some of the ink out. Here I'm going in with a really dark shade. It's a really dark greenish color with a copper shimmer. and I needed some contrast on my page. I didn't want it to be that light everywhere, so I'm adding in that dark just a little bit, not too much. And I'm also using that ink to make splatters later, and that's really lovely because of the micro shimmer in it. It will go to the top and you will get some really lovely copper, dark copper splatters. If you are enjoying this video, it would be really helpful to like it and to leave a lovely comment. I let that page dry completely, and here I'm going in with a little bit of stamping, just a few mixed media images for the background. I really like that to build up texture. And I use I'm not sure from which stamp set, kind of a ticket stamp and some numbers. I will link up all the products I'm using in the video description. You will also find a link to the blog post so you can have a look at the close-up images of the finished page. To stamp that, I'm using the VersaFine Clear ink. It's my favorite ink when it comes to normal paper, watercolor paper, whatever. It just doesn't really work on acrylics because there it doesn't dry. I'm adding some dark splatters now with that copper shimmery ink that I mentioned before. And while I was doing that, I really thought that I was missing some texture in the lighter areas. And I decided to do some more stamping with a lighter color to the lighter areas just to bring some interest in. And I'm using also a number stamp, and I'm using one of my Memento Dewdrop inks. I don't use them a lot, but they are really nice. I'm not sure why I don't use them. Maybe often I don't think about them, but I have a wide color range available, so I will usually always find the right color for my project. And here I'm searching for a lighter blue color that I can stamp into these turquoisey areas. Whilst this is drying, I'm going to look for some collage bits and pieces and for a focal point. And as I don't have an orangish ink, I'm going to use watercolors to color in that focal point. That's a leaf stamp from our Collage Leaves #3 stamp set. It's on sale at the moment, so maybe you want to have a look. And I'm just going in with my watercolors very loosely, very quickly, and create that image so it matches my page. And while this is drying, I will apply or adhere the collage bits I have. I will arrange them on my spread. I searched for some papers out of my stash that are color matching, and I just picked a few. It's a gel print. I think I have a bit of an old book page which I colored with acrylics, and I also have a piece of some handmade collage washi tape and a little ticket. And here I'm just arranging these things yeah, and then I'm gluing them down with my glue stick. When I add collage over a colored background, I always make sure that the colors are matching so everything stays cohesive and is connected. There was a little purple area on the washi tape, and I used that greenish ticket here to just cover that up. And I'm tearing the ticket a little bit because it looks so perfect right now. My focal point is still not dry, so I will wait for it, and then I'm going to adhere it to that spread, and I will show you the finished page now at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you had a lovely time, you are inspired, and hopefully we will see us next time. Bye!